Welcome to Ag Matters, covering positive agriculture stories from across Alaska on Big Cabbage Radio.
Mike Malevsky at Big Cabbage Radio in Palmer, Alaska. It's a great pleasure to welcome people who have been interviewed before.
Yeah.
Yes, they have. And what we're going to be doing is have them introduce both themselves and what they're all about.
Yeah, so I'm Jonas Musgrave. This is...
I'm Ethan Musgrave.
Okay, we got that. And
I'm Misti Musgrave, and we're the owners and family of Healing Acre Farm.
okay, repeat that name one more time.
Healing Acre Farm.
Healing Acre Farm.
There's a fourth one here, but of our family, she just couldn't make it today, and her name's Abigail.
Okay, let's start with you, Misti. What brought you to the point of having a farm? How did you get involved with it? Where did that all start?
Well, I think our initial thing is we wanted just to try to raise our own chicken. Our Jonas grew up with raising chickens for eggs.
Okay.
And so we had that, about 15 years ago, I guess. And then we did meat chickens. We just tried it and lots of learning things, and we loved it. But then I think a big part of it was back about 6 years ago, I had a thyroid cancer scare.
Oh.
And I was not getting the help I desired or the answers I desired for what the root cause is and how to change that, and that I was seeking. And so we started doing some of our own research and recognized that food is a healing factor. And so then lo and behold, we got a few more chickens, a few more layers, and some goats. Then we went into pigs.
And rabbits. Don't forget the rabbits.
And rabbits. And it just started expanding from there. But once I tasted good, healthy food that's not filled with extra stuff, my body started changing like crazy. And
Okay. So you got a personal experience with how this
I
works.
do, yeah.
Okay. And Jonas, you were willing to go along with this.
Well, I'm actually more the spearheader of it because I love animals. I grew up in Alaska, and so the family, we lived a very much hunting, fishing lifestyle. My dad was a fishing guide, and so we lived out in the Girdwood Indian area. So for me, I've always loved animals. When we met, we actually met in North Dakota where we were both doing our undergrad there.
Okay.
And so I also fell in love with the farming community down there. So I love the farming, I love the animals, and it's a great therapy, not just for good food, but just for even our own mental health of, when we have a rough day at work, we can go down to the animals and, my rabbits don't talk back to me. My goats love a good head scratch, so it's always
there you
good.
go.
It's a joke between us, though, that if he wants to introduce a new animal to the farm, there's got to be at least 6 months of conversation with me about it first.
Because I'd have everything.
Well, and that's something, there are a couple of pieces here to extend what we have talked about in the past. But for listeners, very often starting a project when you're married, you have partners that are sisters, brothers, whoever, takes another dimension as opposed to, just doing it by yourself. Where
Yeah.
you make all the decisions and you come up with that. So you've alluded to one way in which you work together to decide things, and that is to have a conversation, a lengthy one, before introducing something new. But how about what we might call the day-to-day simple things? How do you decide who gets to do what?
Well, I think for a lot of that, we have two different personalities. So we've been together 20, married 17, and one of the things we've learned early on is I don't mind waking up at 5 a.m. and getting right to it, where someone else needs a cup of coffee and a little more relaxed, but then she's the night owl. So what we found is morning time chores is really kind of more my time. That's where I work the best, where evenings, that's more her. So for example, our goats, we got to milk them twice a day, so I always do the morning shift and she does the evening shift. And then we also have our kids that help out, for more of the evening chores and stuff like that. So it seems to work pretty well. We found a good balance.
But I think also that I do a lot of the record keeping and the behind the scenes of that kind of stuff, but then also he's very hands-on with the animals, and I am as needed as well, and I take care of them, but I'm also hey, let's process the milk, let's wash the eggs, let's do all that kind of stuff too. And so both strengths on each different side, so it's nice.
Okay, now there's an aspect of this learning. You are going to be working together, obviously. That's one part of it. But there's learning how to do this stuff. For example, you mentioned eggs. And I have long had this interest in, because we've had chickens, and there's this almost two sides to eggs. Do you wash them or do you not wash them?
Well, so one of the things is there's many different avenues of, like, for example, pasteurized milk or raw milk. We do raw milk. You know, for eggs, some people are more comfortable with unwashed eggs versus washed. We do wash our eggs because we find the mass majority of the people are more comfortable with that because that's what you get in the store. However, we do have some customers that request unwashed eggs, and we can accommodate that as well for our eggs. So.
And then also for the market that we had last year, it's required that you wash the eggs.
Right.
And so then it's just a practice that...
Yeah, and I've noticed that this is worldwide, can be different one way or the other. There are some countries that require a wash, some say no. And my understanding about it, I just a little bit more about it, is that there is the potential for bacteria to be on an unwashed egg.
Yep.
But yet, if you wash it too carefully, you're also making it likely to have another set of problems with the egg.
Yeah, there's something on the eggs for the listeners of that's called a bloom around the egg when it's laid. And when that is washed off, and when we say wash, we don't use soap or anything. It's hot water with a little sponge, just making sure. You don't want to use soap. That then it opens up the air pockets of the egg.
Right.
And so then it does need to be refrigerated pretty quick.
Okay, so there we got
Yep.
the next piece of egg information. I know when we bring our eggs in, when we have chickens, we bring them in. We don't pop them in the refrigerator, but we don't wash them.
Yeah.
But if we did wash them, you're suggested, basically that's a rule of thumb?
Yeah, the rule of thumb is we always say, you know, once that egg's washed, that it does need to get refrigerated. I know in some European countries they don't wash eggs and they can stay on the counter for a very long time and they're perfectly fine because of that bloom. And so it's one of those things that's people's preference. We have friends that they don't wash their eggs, they just leave them on the counter and they've never had any issues with that, or they might do a quick little rinse right before they crack it open and put it in the pan. But other than that, I mean, you can definitely leave them on the counter for quite a while.
Okay, well, that's useful information. Thank you for sharing that.
And even if you unwash them, you can stick them in the fridge too. Like, it doesn't matter either or. That'll actually extend their life a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But it's to people's preference.
All right, so we have to ask because we noticed a certain thing happening in the country, and that is the price of eggs
Yes.
Yep.
has bloomed.
So, you know what? That's been a big...
What's your sense of this whole thing?
Well, so it's been a discussion in the house. Our chickens, I feel, are always healthy. We're always checking on them, making sure that we don't have any sickly birds or anything like that.
Right.
And then we also talked about the prices. Now, for us, we debated. We're like, wow, the price is going up. Should we raise our prices? But the reality is that our feed price has not gone up. Nothing. No, there's been no expense added to our production for our egg layers. So we actually decided on the cost-wise, we kept it the same $7 a dozen is what we've been selling it for since last year, or last summer. And our feed price hasn't gone up because we talk about local agriculture all the time.
Sure.
And one of the big concerns is, man, local agriculture, it's so expensive, it's so hard. Well, we kind of view that if we would raise our price just because of the costs in the stores, are we helping it or are we hurting it? Sorry, my apologies, my phone just went off.
Okay.
Are we hurting local agriculture by raising the price? And so we kind of felt like, you know what, let's make it affordable for the people in our community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then the end result, at least at the moment, is that there is a growing spread between your prices and the store price.
Yep.
Okay. Making your
Which for
ours
the
is
first
more
time in a long
attractive.
time, ours is
more affordable.
more
actually.
affordable than the stores. But we want to give to our community. It's part of our mission. And
thank you.
I mean, when our feed prices go up, we're sorry. Like, then we have to do otherwise.
we make
but
that compromise.
This one, we're like, you know what? We're thankful that we could provide it to our community, even in the shortage of eggs nationwide.
Well, let's talk about what component of your whole operation eggs are, or for that matter, can you break it out to say the amount of what we do for eggs, for chickens, for et cetera? What are the big pieces, and what are the
Well, I would
smaller?
say
How do
like
you-
our eggs are our bread and butter year round. They give us the cash flow year round, but
Okay.
then that's like a consistent year. And then we have herd share, so we have a milk that we share year round as well.
Okay.
We also do meat chickens and meat rabbits, and so those are only the chicken
Seasonal.
themselves. It's a seasonal thing, and so there's a lot that goes into it, and then a lot comes out, and then the cash that comes from that just goes back into the next year for the
Okay.
chickens.
What's the season?
So we'll be starting getting chicks chicks at the end of April for our meat chickens. And then we'll go probably into August. August time will be our last butchering session. So we'll raise them up, butcher them. Our first butcher will be in June, and then our last ones will be in August, and we'll do weekly butcherings. This year, we have a Facebook page, and we've advertised our pre-orders. And what's happened is we've gotten a lot of great feedback and a lot of customers asking for pre-orders. So we're selling quite a few chickens, and we haven't even made it to the market. And so it's a good, scary thing to be a part of. We've been raising chickens a long time, and as time goes on, it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And
So what's big and bigger? What are those numbers?
Last year we did a little over 500 meat birds, and honestly, we ran out. We did not have enough to supply the demand. At the end of the market last year, we kind of had to hold back to make sure that we could make it to the last.
Last year we only had like 70 pre-orders.
Yep.
So
We're pushing almost.
We're doubling that
Yeah.
at least already.
So what's your
So-
capacity? What do you have to do?
That's a wonderful
Great
question.
So that actually brings up a really good point. If there's somebody who wants to learn about how to process meat birds, we're going to be looking for help this year because
So far to this point, you've pretty much been able to do it yourself.
We
It's
have
just our four, our
yep.
family.
So it's us and our two kids,
Yeah.
and our kids actually work here on the farm all the time, and they help us process every butchering day, and they've done a really good job at that. But I think we're getting to the point now where we're probably going to need a little extra help because a butcher day is a long day, and your back hurts by the end of it.
I know. I've done a little bit, enough to know I don't want to do a lot. What about the other capacity issue, like your farm itself, buildings, equipment?
So that's something also that I have a lot of work ahead of me to do. So we own 40 acres on the Little Sioux, and so this year our plan is to actually clear more land so we can grow more chicken. We already have some land cleared. That's where we're running our chicken tractors on. However, we're finding that the more birds that we need to do, the more land we need to have cleared. So one of our plans is we have about probably close to 20 acres that I plan on clearing this summer and putting it into planting pasture grass there so that we can start building the soil and having our chickens and goats on that versus it just kind of going back to nature. So
Sure.
So that's something.
And hopefully when that gets ready, that can allow for the capacity increase.
So you mentioned to me the magic term chicken tractor.
Yeah.
I built a chicken tractor at one point, which became less tractor as time went on. It was no longer quite as easily moved.
Yeah.
The concept was good and all, but now it became a chicken house. Why chicken tractors, and how did you decide to do the one you did, or do the one?
Well, most people that are involved in like homesteading, they know the name Joel Salatin. So I'm a teacher by trade, and I love research. So I'm the big guy that reads the books and watches the videos and all that kind of stuff. And so Joel Salatin talked about soil health. I also teach an agricultural class at my school and all that. And so I looked at what is the best for welfare for the chickens. So my thing is if I leave meat chickens in a pen like your standard chicken coop, there's a lot of waste. They poop a lot.
I've been there.
And it can get gross in a hurry. So with the chicken tractor moving it every day, they're on one piece of land. As we move it, they go to a brand new clean chicken coop essentially. And I'm building soil, I'm building fertility, and I'm giving the birds the healthiest, as I call it, the most chickenest life they can have. I mean, they're...
Yeah, let's dig down a little bit to get some numbers here. So a chicken tractor would have how many chickens?
So our personal ones have 30. So we don't do the Joel Salatin tractor. We have in the past, but with my wife's physical stature...
I'm a little on the short side.
I needed something that she could also help out with. So I'm going to butcher the guy's last name, but it's John Shishkovich or something like that. Anyways, he designed another chicken tractor that's more of a house. It can hold 30 birds. It's really easy to move. And so we built a bunch of those, and that's what we use for our chicken tractors.
You got the chicken tractor that will house 30, and you're going to move that on how big a piece of land? One tractor and one piece of land?
Well, back on our former place, we ran 2 of them on about 3/4 of an acre.
Okay, so you're saying something shy of a half acre?
Yeah, so I would say you could easily do those 30 birds if someone's looking to do it for themselves. Those 30 birds you could easily run on about a half acre or less even potentially.
Yeah.
Okay, and how often do you move them?
Every day. So every morning, this is my 5 a.m. type of thing. Every morning I go out there, listen to the birds chirp, and, we move the tractor and feed them and water them every day. And, yeah, that's just kind of our thing. And then as the ground rests, later in the season, you can actually run them again on the same piece of land.
Yep.
So we're talking a tractor that has a house and an area for them to move about on the grass and protection from the elements.
Yep. So it's kind of its own little house. It has one giant roof, and it's pretty basic and pretty simple, but it's effective and it works, and it's done really well for us.
We've gone through 3 different styles of chicken tractors,
Yeah.
and this is the only one that I can move with ease. And
Okay. So tractors good. Mm-hmm. You're talking about meat birds, but we're also talking about egg laying.
Yes.
So do you use tractors for egg layers?
So when we first raise the chickens, say as chicks up to laying hens, yes, I do use the tractors because I do need to keep the flock separate, just age and
Sure.
all that. But actually, for our layers, we do a lot of free ranging. So every morning after they've laid their eggs, I open up the chicken coop and they're free to roam wherever they want. So that's one of our big things is we also want them to be eating the bugs in the grass. But since they go home every morning or every evening, it's not that big of a deal.
And you don't have any problem with them going home?
No, we don't. And predator-wise, we have our security system with our 2 livestock guardian dogs. So that's
Okay.
also...
So since you brought that up, let's cover that at the moment. Livestock guardian dogs. I know a number of people have used a variety of dogs. What do you do?
So we have a breed called Karakachans. It's a Bulgarian livestock guardian dog. And so we really enjoy them. They're more on the friendly side. So, for example, if you came to our farm, give you a treat, you give them a treat and a pet, and then they won't leave you alone and they just want more treats and more pets. So they're a very friendly dog. But when predators come into the farm, they turn a switch and they are amazing. They did pin down a fox earlier in November, and we have witnessed them chase off foxes multiple times. We have a real bad fox problem.
And even eagles.
And eagles and owls and all of that. And our loss on the farm has been almost none since we've gotten them. And we actually currently, I guess we have more than...
We have more than 2.
We have 11, actually. We have a litter. How many do we have, Ethan?
We have
Come on over here.
How many do we have?
we have 9 baby pups.
Yeah, 9 of them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and how old are they?
About 6 weeks old.
About 6 weeks old.
Yep.
Now, even though you have all this land, are you going to keep all of them, or are you going to allow them to go elsewhere?
Misty has a soft spot for one of them, and she really wants to keep that one. But
I'm working on a 6-month conversation in 6 weeks.
Yeah, so we're definitely looking at potentially. Well, actually, we're not potential.
No,
we are
we're
actively
selling
looking
them.
for homes for them. So
Okay, well, so how many of them would you like to keep?
I would like to keep 2.
2. Oh, so Misty wants to keep 1. You want to keep 2. How about 1.5?
perfect. We'll compromise in the middle.
Okay, so when you say find good homes, you're going to be selling them, or
Yeah, we are selling them. I mean, they're a perfect dog, I think, for Alaska. They're on the smaller side. They're only about 80 to 100 pounds.
Okay.
Very athletic, but they don't like to roam. Some of the other breeds love to travel.
Yeah, been
and
there.
these guys, they like to stay home. And like I said, they come in different colors. They're not just white. We have solid ones that are solid black, solid chocolate, or a mixture of like a Holstein cow kind of look of white and black or white and chocolate. So they're just a great all-around dog. We love
And
them.
a good question that a lot of people have is, well, are they good for the outdoors? And of course they got the thick fur, just similar to like a Malamute,
Sure.
right? Like, and they prefer to be outside.
Okay.
But they're good with kids, they're good with families, and they'll bark alarm anything that you need.
Sure.
Some.
So some breeds have almost different breeds, male to female. Akita, for example, a male Akita versus female, very different personalities. What do we have here?
For ours, I would say our female is actually more reserved, where our male is kind of a goofball and he loves everyone and everything.
With that said, our male is still just a year old, like a little bit over a year old.
Yeah.
And our female has grown into adulthood a little bit more. So we are hoping he's going to be more reserved, but I would say that they're both very active, but
He's more goofy.
he's a little bit more goofy and a little bit more on alert.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but as in physical stature, there's not a whole lot of difference.
No.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
they're pretty average.
Got that. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've covered a lot of ground here in a minute, so to speak. And I've asked a bunch of questions. You've done a great job, and I think we've learned a lot about just how you do your operation, and we've drilled down on a few things. So what else would you like? We have a couple of minutes left. What else would you like to share with our listeners before we do finish today?
Well, I think for this upcoming season, if anyone's looking for filling the freezers with, pasture-raised chickens, go ahead and reach out to us on Facebook. So we do have a Facebook page. It's Healing Acre, like a single acre farm. And you guys can reach out to us for pre-orders. And if not, we do plan on being at the market.
Next to our house.
Yes,
right.
next to your house.
In downtown Palmer.
Please, oh my
Matt
gosh.
Nuska Community Farmers
Thank you.
Market.
This is why I have her. She reminds me.
It'll be on Denali Street starting mid-June.
Yeah, and so our plan is to have chickens there the first day of the market. And so that's another place that you can find us. Also, we'll have meat rabbits. So that's another avenue that we do. We currently have right around 40.
Okay.
So I'm starting to breed them right now, and so hopefully by the market we'll have fresh meat rabbits as well.
I would say you probably are going to have thinking about rabbits and how rapidly they
Yeah. So that is the hope. We found that last year at the market, we couldn't keep the rabbits in stock. So I'm trying that a little bit.
It's a
produce
learning
more.
and it's an educational piece for our customers. Is chickens take 6 to 8 weeks, and so we can usually get an extra set in for the market if we need, because the market is all summer. The hard thing about rabbits is it takes almost 16 weeks to get them to where they're ready to be. And so we plan as much as we can ahead of time. And
A lot more variables in rabbit.
yeah, and so it's not as easy, but we're hoping to have just as much as we can in order to get it
Yeah.
out to people.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, and if anyone has any questions or anything, just feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy to answer anything.
You mentioned Facebook. Do you have a website or anything else?
We don't have a website right now. It is growing, so
we are
we
considering
might.
building one.
But I think the easiest way is to find us on Facebook, and I guess if not, you can always give us a call. You can call my phone, 907-830-0342, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions that people have, or even if they just want to learn and like how we do things, I'm more than happy to share that. I'm all
Okay.
about educating. Being a teacher, I love educating people. So
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
Well, thank you, the three of you from Healing Acre, that's 1 acre farm, for coming in today and sharing this information. I learned a lot more than the last time we talked. And
Yeah.
I thought I had learned some stuff then. So stay well out there, and we'll talk again in the future.
all right,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Yep. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Ag Matters, covering positive agriculture stories from across Alaska. Ag Matters is a production of Radio Free Palmer, recorded at our studios in Palmer, Alaska. For more information about this program, email manager@radiofreepalmer.org.